an old hot box, but it doesn't have the jet warmer in it. It could be refurbished, but that's going to take money to put the jet in it, or it could be traded in order to get a good used one. You could rent, instead of going to a rental place, there are companies like Durapatch, which is a company that does an emulsion of crack seal with gravel, almost like chip seal. You've been across those roads, and it's called Durapatcher. And it's got hoses, and your crews go down the street and they patch crack seal or holes or dips. But again, that's only going to last for 3-4 years. Your deep patch is what you need to do to solve these big holes that we got, because not even Durapatch is going to take care of them. So how we do it, Tracy, I don't know, but the budget like this that I gave them that we used to start last year or this year had money in there to be able to buy. But because we bought some that Buckeye stuff, we bought some stuff to be able to go into Calumet and whatever, that's what we use some of that equipment for. We've got it wide open this year to be able to do something. But again, I need trustees' thoughts of what they want, because your staff can't do if they don't have, period. And your roads aren't getting any better. So,
Under A, what price would you put on that list that you got here?
The road work, okay, one repair.
well, Roy, to answer your question, it's kind of tough, because you don't know how many deep patches you're going to have to do on Huffman or Forney or one of the other roads. But if you were to do all this and do multiple patch jobs, this here I know we have to do is going to be well over 250,000. You don't have that kind of money. So we're back again to decide for the residents, where do you want their repairs to happen, and we will repair where we need to.
Then, I got a question on that. Can you do all this in 1 year?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
But you have to have the equipment to do it and a
Right.
schedule to do it. And then you come back next year on the other roads, an additional number of roads that you didn't do this year. And then you just put it on a cycle. There has never been a documented cycle of this road this year, this road next year, this road next year, like Mike was talking about, a 3-year budget. Well, there's never been anything done here up until I took over to be able to set the budget based on repairs every year. You may not be able to do all 6 roads in this year because of COVID or something, so you gotta slide that road over to this year and slide another road over here, but you have a set schedule. When I tried to ask you guys for those lists last year, I didn't get a lot of help, and I got frustrated because I can't make those decisions. You answer to the residents. You know where those bad roads are. I need to know what you want in priority, and then we'll go at it. So we did our best job this year. We're here in November now, and the season's about over. But we did our best job with the resources you gave us, and the department is still in a positive way, positive mode. But I need your help again, because you're all responsible for the roads. So Roy, it's about 250,000 to do it.
Okay.
Good question. I mean, I'm always in favor of doing it in-house, but you've got other factors that go into that. Number one, how much capacity is in their schedule for projects like this, working under the assumption that there's 30 cuts in a mowing season. So last time I looked at it, I think mowing was consuming 3.5 days a week, and that's not including what the New Holland's doing on the roads. So you have this investment in capital equipment. Does that mean more staff? Does that mean longer schedule? And you've got the turnover factor on people that are going to be able to do that. It kind of I guess we're gonna have to weigh whether or not it's more efficient to farm it out than guys that are trained, experienced, been doing it forever, in and out, boom, boom, boom. The work we had done this summer is a perfect example, in and out in a week. Okay, so do we have the capacity to take on all of this with all the responsibilities with the mowing?
For the amount that you did last year with that one contractor, no. Because it's large sloughs or large length and width, and we don't have the equipment to do that. So the deep patching would be small holes that is possible. But it's a lot easier to the road department that you have the professional company that's out there digging in the right of way that knows and is responsible for where all the water lines are, sewer lines are, gas lines are, telephone lines, and it's 100% their liability.
Doing road work can never be that deep.
On deep patch it is. Deep patch I mean, some of your cable lines are 1 foot underground. That's why we're getting a permit process started here at the township for next year. So they have to pull a permit before they're allowed to work in the right of way, because the county is hitting lines along the county roads recently where the lines were no more than a foot buried, because there's nobody watching the contractor bury the lines. So if I had my druthers, the road department focuses on the little stuff, but the stuff that really needs that little stuff, and that price for that contractor is way too high. But the big stuff, we're not capable of doing, even if you bought us some equipment. There's not enough staff members to do a big road project like we did this summer. But small patches, they can do almost all year long and take care of one patch at a time when there is time. It won't be every day. And Tracy, answer your question, if we dedicated 5 days or 10 days to a project, we can do that. But then they're gonna have to get back to mowing, nuisance mowing. I mean, we mowed almost 200 properties this year in mowing on top of everything. So it is a balance of what do you guys wanna do. The professional big firms know how to take care of the big problems. But can you afford to put that professional firm on the small, just as important, but the small, I don't know if you can afford it.
So, okay, let's think, okay, it looks like from this proposal, you want to focus a lot of time on Drexel around Third, is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where we need a lot of the help. I mean, a lot of the work that's been needed for a long time.
So is like a hot box and a roller, is that going to give them what they need? Or are you still going to need some sort of grinder?
We need the grinder, we don't really need a hot box.
Okay,
We can go get the hot stuff at Valley and come right back with our dump trucks.
What about saw?
We got that, we've got a K-12, so we can cut out. We can easily cut out, but we just have no way of getting that out of there. We can use a backhoe, but like I said, we spider the rest of the asphalt around it.
You know,
How about a smaller bucket?
you saw it, no spider. Saw it, take the part out.
Smaller bucket?
Right.
Well, then you're gonna have to come out there with us, because that is not how it happens, because it would cave in the way the condition of this road is. We're not working on an asphalt road, we're working on roads that were built with chip seal. The Drexel area is all chip seal. And so you don't have much of a base, so you have to be very careful of what you do with that base. So it's a little different monster than you find on an asphalt road. Asphalt road will stay in place when you cut that hole. But anything that's like the weak base that Drexel has, I talk to City of Trotwood all the time about the same problem on the north side of this Drexel area, and they had the worst problem because it never had a good base. So, but again, these are the things we need, or you need to say, we're gonna identify 50 places, and we're gonna RFP, and you're gonna have a professional firm come in and do them. But the residents deserve help on the road, especially in the Drexel area. I talked about storm sewer repair before. The tree brush cut, when we did an RFP, We got only one firm out of Columbus this summer, or this spring. You trustees might remember that. So you decided to go back with another RFP, which we will do. But we want to be aggressive on cutting trees back. A couple residents are asking about some nuisance trees that are on private property. So we have legal counsel looking at that now, of whether the township has even the right to go on to legal land that's not township owned, and to chop trees down and then assess the property owner. It's under the nuisance law, but again, the attorney is not sure if we're allowed to enter on private land. Crosswalk repair. The township has never done what ADA's been required for 10 years now, is that you have to have crosswalk entries. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but I call it a bubble. They put a plate in there and they got little bubbles or whatever, and it's a mechanism, and you have to build an entry ramp for ADA. So we hope to start in this budget. We've got money, we think in that same budget, to be able to at least do 2 or 3 of those and see how we can do them. And so we start trying to be ADA compliant, because someday you will be hit with a penalty if you don't. We're never going to get them all done in a short period of time, but we're going to try to get some.
I have a question. How do you identify those intersections?
Well, that's what I said. I said I put down here, or I may put another place. It's up to the trustees to tell us where they want us to start. Probably preferably in the area that we have a lot of foot traffic, which is where I would. Most of the roads have severe problems with berming. You look outside of your truck in your window, and you see the side of the asphalt, and the gravel's washed away, or the gravel's been pushed away by a big truck or something. And that's one of the worst ways to lose the side of your roadway, to berm. So we hope to berm some roads this summer, or next summer, so we can try to retain the stability of the sides of the roads. Again, where that is we're gonna have to decide where that is.
You don't have, is that in-house or?
That's in-house, all of it.
Didn't you already do some of that already?
Yeah, we did some already, where we had washouts. We get the, phone call, and we go out there, and the whole hillside of the curb is, or not the curb, but the side of the road is washed out.
So how long does that last?
It depends on the weather and how it wears it away. But if you don't get that packing, for instance, this is the side of the asphalt. If you don't have something here and your weight goes down here, you get that. You get a lot of stop signs. Everybody sees that in stop signs and
I'm
ruts.
just wondering because when you got, what I saw was the bill
Yeah,
that you have.
from
And
Lysol.
when you do snow removal, that take all that up?
No.
Snow removal won't touch it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Keep it down a little paper.
Yeah, otherwise you put it up too high, and you didn't lay it right. So you build a custom chute to come out of the back of the dump, and Mike knows what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The potential purchases we were just talking about, I just labeled to do it right, this is what is recommended to have when you're doing small spots, not large, is some type of Durapatch or crack seal machine. So we can crack seal the road in that area that we're working in. Some kind of little used mini roller. Nothing has to be new, just so it runs and we can maintain it. A Bobcat or something that we can put an attachment to the front of it to mill the pavement. Milling means just taking all the concrete and material out of there. And the last one is we could take that old hot box that doesn't have the torch in it and use it as trade bait to get a better price to buy some of this equipment from the vendor, or lease, or rent, something like that.
The mini roller, the Bobcat, the attachment to the Bobcat, the first year, you want to try renting that maybe and?
We sure can
See
try,
how the guys do, I mean.
and we got money in the budget to rent. We just don't know, we gotta locate a dependable person to rent from.
I got one.
And so we can get that. So we're ready to move,
Yeah.
And what's very helpful on the staff, even though we've got some of the young staff, the ODOT employee does it almost every day. and he wants to help lead that process to teach the rest of the crew on how to do it. So you got, Mike, you got somebody you could refer me to, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Great,
He lives in the township too.
great. All right, so we talked about spraying. One of the things that we want to do is definitely spray this next spring. We did buy one sprayer that'll fit on the rear of a tractor. But we've been told about a skid unit that's fairly inexpensive that we can use for both weed spray in the summer and then convert to brine in the winter. So it'd be a dual purpose tank. We don't know much more about that than that tonight, so I don't have much more to give you. But we're gonna go look at these tanks. They're used from a commercial company. But we'd really like to, by next year, we'd like to get into the business of putting brine on the roads. And it's because it's a huge savings. You don't use as much salt when you use brine. Every community that I know of around us are using the brine but us. So anyways, uniform allowance, this is what I proposed for this year.
Do you have any money here for a spray class? Because you want to buy with spray license?
Trading down on L. Oh, but do I have money in that budget? Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Now, the next part, letter K.
No, I have a question on J.
Yeah, go ahead.
On J, you started talking, did you raise that?
There's a raise and a lower.
Okay, so you raised the.
Raise the full-time because I'm seeing that with COVID, I'm starting to see, the possibility if this doesn't go away. They're cleaning up people's trash, clearing out houses. They're subject to COVID every day with their clothing. So, and I also see that if you have a seasonal person only working some months to some months, why would you give them the full board? So I lowered the seasonal to 150. The permanent part-timers I think they were at 250 last year, or 2, I think. But then I raised the full-timers to 5.
So how many full-time, oh, you said that, didn't
Yeah, you have 2.
you? And then we got perm. so
4
what's the di-
permanent.
Well, okay, but what about permanent part-time then?
That's only 4.
Okay, and what's the seasonal? How many?
Seasonal is only, what I have 4 there.
You got 4, you got.
Yeah,
three.
if we can hire 4, we may not
Oh,
have
you
enough
don't have
money.
any yet,
We have 4 right now, but they're finishing in
Are those the
November.
seasonal? Okay, those are seasonal.
Those are the seasonal.
What about the permanent part-time?
We have 3 plus Tony
Okay,
into that mix.
okay, so I noticed, well, okay.
So that money's encumbered from the same, the uniform budget had that much money in it for last year. Okay, so
Okay,
the next thing is the buildings. I want to bring to your attention the buildings. I know recently you guys have been through it. Here's what we like to do down at the road garage. Instead of letting the GTE building sit there and rot like it has for many years, we'd like to put a small cap the roof, put a garage door in the front of the building where the windows are, so we can back a pickup truck in there to load up signs in the middle of the night, during the day, whatever. And use that as a real sign shop, instead of just having a bunch of junk thrown in there on top of each other. An organized office. Then in the winter, if we need a place to put a truck or store it out of the weather or whatever, we've got our space. And it costs you very little money to do that to that building. That was the first thing we thought about. Second of all, in the lawnmower garage, we're putting visqueen on the ground this summer, right now. And then we're gonna cover it with gravel so the moisture does not come up to rot, or moisture doesn't come up underneath those lawnmowers as bad, because they do sit out there all winter long. And then if we can do that, our garage door, we've temporarily fixed it on the front of the Quonset hut, but it's temporary. At times it wants to fall out of its track and hit somebody in the head. And so it's a major problem. So I don't know how we're gonna address that, but we hope to fix that Quonset hut problem so we don't have an OSHA injury problem. The road offices, under the CARES Act, we are going to, that's the Kimmel Lane building, we're gonna upgrade the bathrooms and the kitchen. because those gentlemen are in COVID and they have to have a place to shower and clean up, and COVID covers that. The windows are not energy efficient, so we're looking for some donated or secondary windows, and we've been talking to the reuse charity downtown about that. We want to remove that siren from the top of the building because we have a major water leak down through the ceiling. We had that at Station 59, and we fixed it by taking the siren down, and then the insurance company, gave us a new roof on 59. And the last thing is, the soffits, they all need painted or they're rotting. Our suggestion is to look into the price of vinyl and vinyl side the wood surfaces on the building to make the outside look more pleasurable. So, Mike, here's the question about training.
One more thing about Kimmel Lane.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we want to take the time and the energy to make sure that the Kimmel Lane is owned by the road department and not owned by the fire departments in case we have a state audit and we have issues with that? Do we just want to have the fire department sell that to the road department for $1 or something? Because that is owned by the fire department.
Right, that's a two-way street. We can do that, and I'm open to any ideas that everybody has. The other side of it is, Mickey Smith, our grant writer, said that any department building, whether open or closed, should be included in the AFG grant, and it scores you more points.
Okay.
So for this year's grant that we're working on, we have included Kimmel in the application as a shutdown fire station, and we're allowed to do that.
Okay.
But I'm all open to taking, whatever we have to, legal steps to do the right thing. But the residents are telling us that they're so happy to see an empty building being inhabited.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The sheriffs now have a place to sit to watch those neighborhoods, as you guys all know, are having some issues on some of those side streets right across from there. And we think it's helping with crime, some a reduction a little bit. So,
More activity, yeah.
but Mike, let's talk about it.
Okay.
And Roy, that's fire department, we can talk about it. So, and then training, these are the things I want to train our staff with this year. One, I'm gonna have a quarterly, that's further down there, but I'll say first, I'm gonna start out with a quarterly safety training done from in-house. So every quarter, the workers are gonna go through a training. Two, spray vegetation licensing. They all want it. I'm gonna go through it. Anyone else wanna go through it can join us. LTAC, it's free training for the state of Ohio. ODOT offers it. Sometimes it's video-based, sometimes they'll send a speaker out. Don't know about COVID right now, but we need to take advantage of that free stuff to train our folks more about road work and why are they doing what they're doing and how can they do it better. Lean Ohio is they teach you to run your department with less money than you thought you could run it off of. Jefferson Township and Butler Township sent people just recently to a Lean Ohio program, and they've come back just raving about the ideas that they have to do the same with less money. So I want to send a group through. Our Stormwater District Management Program, I've got them all involved in it. They will be involved in the training, so every person that works there, whether they're part-time or full-time, are going to understand what we have to do to protect our stormwater district and the stormwater in the township. There's an 811 dig program, which I want to send them through so they know, what to do when they're digging in ditches. And the last thing is, there is a ditch digging training. LTAP offers it. I'm looking for something a little closer. Right now in the township, we have no transit. We have no equipment to be able to dig a ditch legally. Because you have to have slope and you have to do it, because we're a public entity, not a private entity or a personal home, we can't just go out and dig. I want to get our staff in the position to be able to clean out these ditches in the township in a legal manner so we can get that done. Nuisance and mowing and abatement, there's not a lot there. We even with all the banging and the hard use of the equipment that we've got, the money for repairs have held up from last year. So that's the same amount I'm coming back with this year. But now that we have a mechanic in-house that didn't start till June, along with these other part-timers, and some of our full-timers are mechanically inclined too, we now aren't sending out stuff that we may have done back in March and April, because we only have one part-time worker in the department. Outside of that, this isn't a perfect plan, but it gives Tracy at least a place to plug and chug her numbers in. I think I'm asking you trustees to come up with a list of roads you want done. We will quote them, and I'll get you those quotes back as soon as I can, so we can see how much up or down we have to adjust this appropriation. And then that's the list that we're going with this year. So all three of you will have that list, and you can show a resident, we can put it on the website, here are the roads we're doing today. Before my time, or before I got this position, plus now, the LEAF program is an example. It's communicated, people know where it's at, and they know when we're coming down the street. This has to be helpful to the people that live here, at least to understand that you're not doing something that you shouldn't be, or you're blowing the money. There's a pattern, or not a pattern, but there's a game plan that everybody knows what's going on. But honestly, we need to do something in the Drexel area, and it's not just one street or two. It's that entire 3rd Street corridor. So.
So I have a question then about, so in your salary figure, you keep mentioning a mechanic, is still gonna fit in there? You just keep-
He's still seasonal part, he's not seasonal, he's permanent part-time.
And then I also noticed that Tony was half road and half general, and you're proposing that it goes 100% general. You're proposing that.
Well, I didn't change that because I was thinking that he was just code enforcement, but we should probably go to 50-50 on that one.
Because I didn't know if he was still gonna be a part of the roads, and that's why I was.
Well, they hired him full-time, and because they hired him full-time, it included his hiring being half road, half general, and making full-time. So that is a mistake that I make, guys. If you want to make an adjustment to that chart, you should be 50 road, 50 general for Tony McKee.
So then I'm going ahead and ask, is that salary included in that?
It's included in my figure, yeah.
Salary,
On a salary split sheet.
yeah.
Yes, yeah, the split. Thanks for pointing that out. That is my mistake. I'll take blame for that. But the biggest thing is, and Mike brought it up, we have 103,000, if that's what you want to see, what we appropriated last year, which got us through this year. What do you guys want to do with that 103? Because we may think we need to do this over here, but you guys know what a priority has been for a number of years and nobody's touched it. Now, how do we know what you didn't tell us? It's not intentional, it's just, we need to work more as a team. And I think we'll even do better than we did this year. So, that's the end of what I prepared for tonight, because I'm just very happy on how the budget survived this summer. But I knew we had to make some adjustments, just like fire's making adjustments to theirs. And we'll get it all ready for you guys before we even walk in that day, for you to at least think about adopting the permanent budget. Tracy will send those out to you, or I will work with Tracy closely.
Any questions, guys?
So we can use some of that 103 to take care of the Section 8? correct?
Yes, you sure can.
Okay.
So can somebody help me out and point out where you're talking? You keep saying 103, but I haven't found it. I guess I lost track.
Mike took, I know, yeah, I think, yeah, he brought it up, but I think I know where he took it from.
Okay, so in 2031, in the 2031, you have 80,000 in contract services, roadway projects. Okay?
Okay.
And then, the 40, what did I do the rest of
Yeah, you had 10 and 10 from somewhere, or to one of them.
that? Under the gas tax, there was 10.
Okay.
Contracted services, roadway projects, went to 90, and then, hold on, I'll find it.
So you added it up, okay, I think I know, I thought it was just one price. But I know it's a couple of things. Well, what, I must have handled it. Okay. It's 5,000. Oh, that's for the workers' stipend.
Oh, when he said the 13, the 13 was in 2011, it's just listed as contracted services.
And we actually have another 20. Under 211-330, that would be page 3 at the bottom. Give another 20 for asphalt repair. 330,
Yeah, that's
so,
it. Last one.
so you got 123, which is about what I think that contractor, you did this summer. But anything we can do in-house, we'll do. I just don't want to do a job that we're not prepared to do, because we'll be right back out there trying to fix it the next year.
Right.
Nothing upsets residents, you guys all know, it upsets you as a resident, it upsets me if you went out there and fixed it and said, what a crappy job that was. I think you could stretch people with the contractors right now with where they're at and the economy. Your next RFP, if you stretch it enough, I think you're gonna get more done for less money. Just my opinion, I'm no contractor, and they probably kill me for what I just said. But like you said, Mike, throw spaghetti on the wall and you might end up with something and get more bang for your buck. But you wanna do it right. And, if we can keep from throwing pothole patch in a pothole, we'd love to do that. But we know that we're not gonna be able to do that. But at least you guys make a big dent this year, maybe come back next year with the same dent. You just gotta take it day by day. It's nobody's fault. It's just the fact over the years, nothing was put together for long-term repairs that I'm aware of.
Steve, did you print this off for you, Amy?
Yeah.
Okay.
When do the seasonal part-time start in the spring? Do we have a date, approximate time?
This year, you gave me the okay like midsummer. We got them started, so we can start them in March, we can start them in April, we can start them in May. It's up to you.
We kind of need to know, Rory, I think we kind of need to know how good our guys are at doing repair.
Right.
So maybe have something set up in the first week, not the first week, but in the first 7 weeks when they start, okay, let's paint a couple, dig outs to do, have them saw them, see who can run a backhoe and dig it out and do a couple